أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good morning everyone. You're welcome to mathematics class. I am Abdulaziz Onifade. Today inshallah al-Karim will continue from where we stopped on geometric shapes. I told you the last time that we have two types of shapes, 2D shapes and 3D shapes. So you can see the pictures of 2D shapes, and we have done some properties of some 2D shapes. So look at the 3D shapes, the sphere, the prism, the cuboid, and the likes. So without wasting much of our time, we'll quickly go to the topic for today, which is these are flat shapes. As I've told you before, now we have this trapezium, the rhombus, the circle, and the likes. The notes went to you after this presentation. So we'll quickly move to solid shapes and their properties. After I've talked about plane shapes, we'll go to solid shapes. So under solid shape, you could see examples of solid shapes: the cube, the cuboid, the sphere, the cone, the square base pyramid, the cylinder, the triangular prism, pentagonal prism, and a lot of them. So all these are 3D shapes which have length, breadth, and height. So they have 3 dimensions. So without wasting much of our time, I'd like us to watch this video on 3D shapes. Please come with me.
Three-dimensional or 3D shapes are shapes that take up space. They have 3 dimensions: length, width, and height. The world of 3D shapes. They are all the things we can hold. A book is a 3D shape. So is your sock, as well as your birthday presents. Can you see how they each take up space? There are some features that are common across 3-dimensional shapes. These features include faces, edges, and corners. The flat surfaces of a shape are called faces. No, not that type of face. The edge of a 3D shape is the line where 2 of its surfaces meet. And the corner is where 2 or more edges meet. A corner can also be called a vertex. The faces of 3D shapes contain 2D shapes that you may already know. Maybe you can recognize some of these 2D shapes as we go through a few examples. Here are some 3-dimensional shapes and their features. This shape is a cube. A cube has 6 faces that are identical, 12 edges, and 8 corners. All of the faces, edges, and corners are size and length. Can you see how each face of the cube is a square? This shape is called a rectangular prism. A rectangular prism has 6 faces, 12 edges, and 8 corners. It's very similar to the cube. Instead of all the faces being squares, they're rectangles. The opposite faces of a rectangular prism are always the same size.
So it is also called cuboid.
Is a triangle. triangular prism.
Also, cuboid. This is a triangular
A
prism.
triangular prism has
Yes.
9 edges and 6 corners. Triangular prisms have 2 faces that are triangles and that are rectangles. The 2 triangle faces are always. Some 3D shapes have more than just flat surfaces. Some have curved surfaces. But we don't call them faces because faces are always flat. This shape is called a cylinder. A cylinder has 2 circles on each end that are the same size, with a tube in the middle.
So two flat
It has 2 flat
faces
faces
and
and 1 curved surface.
Some people will call it
The
3
cylinder
altogether.
also has 2 edges, but no corners. Remember, a corner is where 2 or more edges meet. In a cylinder, there are no corners because its 2 edges do not meet. This is a cone. Not an ice cream cone, unfortunately, but it is the same shape. A cone has a circle at its base and a point at the other end. It has 1 flat face, 1 curved surface, 1 edge around its base, but no corners. This unique shape is a sphere. It's perfectly round, just like a ball. This means it has no flat faces, no edges, and no corners. Just 1 curved surface.
Just one curved
How
surface.
unique is that?
Has a round surface.
That's what makes a sphere the perfect shape for a ball. It rolls around easily in any
Like your
direction,
ball.
and you can kick it without banging your toe on a sharp corner. Now that you know some 3-dimensional shapes,
So look at
perhaps you can
different
spot a
dimensional,
few examples of
three-dimensional
them
shapes.
in your classroom or outside in the playground.
So that is the video on that. Sorry. Sorry, it's not moving. I have to continue. So the next one is the summary table of solid shapes. So all what you have seen now, this is the summary table, the name of it, the number of faces, the number of edges, the number of vertices. You see cube, 6 faces, 12 edges, and 8 vertices. Cuboid like as well. Cuboid is the rectangular prism. Cylinder, cone, prism, pyramid. Tetrahedron is a triangular based pyramid. Tetrahedron is triangular based pyramid, while the other pyramid that they put there is the rectangular based pyramid. Is that clear? So that is that. And your homework will be this. It's 1 to 9. It's 1 to 9. So I'll even send the notes. So you can see, if you can't see it clearly here, you can see that later. Any question, you can get back to me later. Assalamu alaikum.